Welcome once again to the BizLife Podcast. We are broadcasting live here from the downtown studios of the Latin Chamber of Commerce. My name is Mike Bindrup. I'm with the Small Business Education Program at Reno Extension. We're happy to be here with my co-host Carlos Gomez from the Latin Chamber.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you, Carlos. And thank you for the support of Latin Chamber, always in the BizLife Podcast.
We're partners.
It's been a great partnership. Great partnership. Yes. And today we're joined by Saul Ramos. He's our Nevada District Director for the SBA.
Yeah, glad to be here. Awesome. Thanks for having me part of this.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, welcome back. You've been on the show a number of times, and you're always just a great advocate for small business in Nevada. And so we're looking forward to talking about not any new programs, maybe a couple.
Right.
The SBA always has a couple of
we always have something under our sleeve. Right? Yeah.
It's always like, didn't we give you guys enough money back, with the whole PPP thing? But, yeah, it's interesting. So, well, welcome back. And let's talk about EIDL loans, PPP loans. We gave the money, right?
Right.
Guess what? It's time to pay it back, right?
And there you go. That's
cha-ching.
Yeah. No, that's where we're at. And I think it's a good segue there because you're absolutely right. The EIDL, that Economic Injury Disaster Loan, if you all remember that 30-year term at 3.75, that was a loan.
That was a loan.
Yeah, there was a portion of it. We called it the EIDL Advance that you didn't have to pay back. Remember, two separate things, EIDL Advance or EIDL Supplement. Those were the ones that you did not have to pay back. Those were up to $10,000.
That was the $10,000 one. Okay.
And an additional $5,000 on the supplement. Those you don't have to pay back. But remember, EIDL, the loan, it's a loan. You have to pay it back. And that's really what we're trying to get, where we're getting a lot of calls now.
Okay.
If you remember, there was that 2-year deferment.
Yes.
And then they added another 6
months.
Yeah. Long story short, we ended up with about 24 to 30 months deferment. So that was 2020. So here we are.
I was talking to a small business owner this week who she got the EIDL loan and she already paid it off.
Nice.
And she said, I just got to notice that my payback starts now. And I said, well, good, congratulations, you paid it off. This is great. So you're doing well. So for those who didn't start making payments, because she said she started making payments immediately on the money, which was probably pretty smart business.
Yeah. And the deferment was for those that, let's face it, there was a lot of folks that were just struggling too.
Absolutely.
Right? Struggling. So that deferment, not having to give that payment was a huge benefit as part of the loan structure. So, but that was almost 24, 30 months ago, right?
Yeah.
And here we are now.
Yep.
Here we are now.
Now it's time to pay Uncle Sam back.
Facing reality. Yes. Now you're married. Now you face the consequences.
But I have to tell you, the EIDL and the PPP loan, I have never seen the federal government move so swiftly on anything. That saved so many businesses from just going out of business.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And just to add some numbers to that, if I'm not mistaken, here in Nevada, combining the PPP and the EIDL, we're pushing close to $11 billion that went out to Nevada small businesses. Yeah, and really it was I've mentioned this before several times, but it was a group effort.
Yeah.
Everybody came together. I know the Latin Chamber was very active, other chambers, the state, everyone, going back to your point, was doing their best to move quickly on this, to get the information. So the information was one step, getting the money was another, but it goes hand in hand.
Well, I remember we did the small business town halls, and we had Saul on almost every week. You were one of your counterparts was on,
right?
And you were so detailed on information. You're like, okay, if your application starts in a 6, do this, right? If you didn't, you need to reapply over here. You need to do this because everything was changing so rapidly.
Right.
And you guys were right on top of it. So, hats off to you guys for taking care of that.
Yeah, that's good to you. Your office, really active, helped a lot of people, and there's congratulations because you did an excellent job.
Yeah, absolutely.
Honest. We have a good team.
You guys were out. You guys were out in front. You were out in front of your skis on this one for sure. And so we really appreciated that. So now if you're a small business owner and you're listening up and you're like, I know I had to pay that back, but they should have already gotten some notification in the mail, right?
Yes, and that's a good question because there's often times where we get calls that folks have not received something. And again, remember, there's a deferment period. So for some folks, that deferment already expired. For others, it might still be right there.
Okay.
So what do you do, right? What do you do if you want to start paying this.
And who do you pay it to? That's a great
Right,
question too.
Right. And we actually, this morning, we got a check that came to our office. Don't send it to us, please. All right. We're going to call you back and say, let us show you. So we've gotten a few checks in our office at the SBA. Don't send it to us. What you do is there's going to be 2 steps. Number 1, you go to CAFs, first of all, you're more than welcome to call us. Okay. So first things first, if you have any issues, if you're unclear, if none of this is making sense after you hear it, give us a call. 702-388-6611, 702-388-6611.
And Carlos
Call
and
us.
I, if you want to make a check out to Carlos Gomez and Mike Bindrup,
I prefer cash.
cash is okay. Some gift cards too. We'll take those as well. So that's
nothing traceable to my wife.
no, Carlos.
Yeah,
nothing traceable. I'm so sorry.
No, that's a good one.
Non-traceable cash
Yes,
items.
so
Okay,
you can have
perfect.
happy life.
We'll take pesos, right? Euros. I'm okay with that.
Whatever.
Bolivares.
Yeah.
No.
Coins.
Reales. Okay. So what's the number again, Saul?
702-388-6611.
6611. So if you have any questions, you can make that call. But,
Right.
if you haven't dealt with that, but who do you pay it to? You pay it to do you pay it directly to the federal government, or do you go through your lender?
It's going to go to the Treasury.
Okay.
Right.
So I was explaining there's a website called CAFS, C-A-F-S, right? So you're going to do that. You're going to have to, just like anything, username, password, create that. That is going to allow you to see how much you owe.
Okay.
So that's number 1, right? If you have no idea how much you owe, or maybe you get, for whatever reason, you don't remember, or you haven't gotten a statement, go there. So now that you have the amount that you owe, then there's a separate website. It's pay.gov. Pay.gov. That is G-O-V. Make sure it's going to G-O-V and not to the Carlos or the Bindrup. All right.
MikeBindrup.com. You can go right to that website.
Yep.
I have a one-click button.
Visit Vimo, visit PayPal.
Cash App.
I don't know. Our Office of Inspector General is going to be after you guys. I don't know.
We should be publishing this stuff, Carlos.
But pay.gov, it's where you go. That's where you're going to get the payment.
Okay.
And that's, so again, there's 2 websites, 2 steps that you have to do. And that's the best way of doing it. Of course, the other way, you can mail it and so forth. And there's an address, and that will be given when you receive it.
But the most important thing is when you subscribe, you see your information, so nobody else. So because, there are a lot of scammers around online saying, oh, you can make the payments through us, or this is the way you make the payments to the government, but this is scam. So you need to raise there, see your information, see your balance and your monthly payments, and you keep control on that.
Right.
Correct.
Right.
Now, if by chance the information they look up, they go, I only borrowed $20,000 and this says I owe $36,000. What do they do if that's the case?
Yeah. We are here locally, so
Okay.
I would say, again, leverage us, call us.
Call you guys first.
And what we are going to do in full disclosure is that there is the Office of Disaster Assistance. That is the SBA department that's going to be handling this. You're more than welcome to call them as well. As a matter of fact, that's who we're going to ask for you to call, because they are the ones that are going to be overseeing that. Unfortunately, we don't have access anymore as we did before. So the Office of Disaster Assistance is going to be the program office that's going to be dealing with that. They're going to be able to give you more information on those type of details.
Okay, perfect.
And when you got the full payment, like the businesswoman the Mike referred to, you had a statement or something that is pay off or something, because you need to be sure. I remember in the past, one member of the chamber got a letter from SBA saying that he owes X amount of money, but he said already pay off, and so he has the document. So he submitted the document and he clarified, but because things happen like
things
that.
things do happen and paperwork gets shifted around. So
documentation is key, like anything.
yeah,
so
make sure you keep in your documents good, and make sure you're issuing the payments through the governmental portal. And keep in mind that if you owe money to Treasury, right, you need to pay that. Period. I hear business owners all the time, can I go through a bankruptcy? Can I do that? And I'm like, not if you owe money to Treasury, because they have a way to collect that. Right. Ultimately.
Yeah, no, and that's important. We go back to, if you know you applied for a loan, know that you're going to have to pay it back.
Yeah.
Right. And hence why we're having this conversation and giving you the resources and the websites and the tools and the contacts to not only just to figure it out, but to start making those payments. That's important because if you don't, not only, it's Treasury, but your credit, all this is going to have if you want to call it a negative impact sooner or later.
Exactly.
If you're trying to avoid it. So get on it would be my recommendation.
And who ultimately collects money for the federal government? It's not the SBA.
No,
It is Treasury through a certain function, right?
it's IRS and all those fails, the feds.
IRS knows where to find you.
We're on the other side of the fence. We're working with the banks trying to get the money.
You are the nice face. You don't want to see the other face.
Yeah,
like your mother-in-law.
You can't hide, right? I mean, you can avoid it for a period of time, but eventually, it's like your federal student loans. That catches up to you eventually.
Right.
So you just have to buckle down and pay this.
Yeah.
Right. So
Right.
now, if they're in a situation where maybe they're in financial problems again, what is there to do?
Start with the Office of Disaster of Assistance.
Okay.
Have those conversations. It would be like anything else, right? Even when you have a loan, whether
Like with your bank, you want to call the bank first.
Right. Have those conversations. Reach out to SBA, reach out to Office of Disaster of Assistance, and see, what could be done. But
And regardless of what people think if I can't make the payments, the bank doesn't want to hear from me. False. They want to hear from you.
Right.
Exactly.
They want to hear that you haven't disappeared and ran off with the money and whatever else. You're not calling them from Bermuda and having a great time. Right? You don't want to be doing that.
Margaritas.
Yeah, margaritas para todos. Yes. Carlos is buying. So it's really important to talk to a lender if stuff goes sideways.
Right.
And you can always say, hey, I'm in a little trouble here, and you can try to work something out with them. At least be in communication with them. That's the positive thing to do.
Yes.
Okay.
communication is key.
Awesome. Okay, so that's the EIDL.
Right.
PPP. Let's talk PPP.
Right.
Now, I've heard some stuff that people are like, hey, there's an additional something I can get.
Oh, wow.
Is that even true? I was like,
No.
I said, I'll ask Saul this week.
Yeah,
We'll
no.
see.
And if they do, please let me know. I would like to know where it's coming from, because I think we would have
You guys would have known about it.
Yeah, we would have a huge line. But no, there's no additional funds coming down PPP. As a matter of fact, now many of them have hopefully already applied for that forgiveness. Remember, that PPP Payment Protection Program was one of those loans that was going to be forgiven.
Forgivable.
Right. If it's a forgivable loan, you have to submit the application. You have to go through the whole process. That one you work with the bank. If you don't work with the bank, then you're working with SBA. SBA had a platform, where you can submit that forgiveness. So either the bank or the SBA platform, there was a PPP forgiveness platform, and the end result is to get that forgiven. Now,
but they need to apply.
They need to apply. It's not going to happen automatically. And I'm pretty sure the banks, going back to communication,
they've been in touch.
They've been in touch. They've reached out. We've heard, this is a few months back where banks are reaching out. It's like, hey, we haven't received anything. That time is coming due. Remember, there was also a period of time that they had to submit that forgiveness application. So believe me, they're doing their best as well.
Has that period closed now for the application? Like if you didn't seek the forgiveness?
It might still be open. It might still be open. I think it was 18-something months.
So if you're a small business owner and you receive PPP funds and you go, I haven't gotten my whatever, you probably need to contact your financial institution just to make sure, right?
And what about, because I remember a member of the chamber called us and say, look, I don't know how to fill out the application. I received the forgiveness document, but I don't know how to fill up that document correctly. So what is the situation there?
Yeah.
What they can do?
Well, this is the great part of SBA. We have resource partners, and I'm sure many of you have heard of it, but just really quickly, the Small Business Development Center, the Women Business Center, SCORE. So these are all resource partners that are receiving at some capacity funding from SBA to provide the technical assistance, that being one of them. So you have support. You have a network of folks that you can reach out to. Carlos, I'm sure they probably reached out to you and Mike as well. I mean, so there's different resources to help you other than just SBA. Those that I mentioned are under the SBA umbrella that can help you and walk you through that process. Again, we're trying to make sure that you are applying for it, that you're getting forgiven. And Mike, you mentioned keep that documentation, right?
We talked
about the EIDL. Now we're jumping over to the PPP, but once it is forgiven, you should receive some communication that it was forgiven and you're all good to go and on your way.
Yeah. I don't want to remember one, Homer Simpson. He said, okay, this is my son. What is your name? Okay, this is your name, Bones. This is the paperwork. You need to prove the payroll and the insurance and the payroll and everything. Yes.
There's a simplified process, and that's, again, that platform. And then you have folks that might have gotten a bit more than what we were streamlining, and that requires more. But nevertheless, it's good accounting, good bookkeeping. Keep that documentation as well.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Good.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're all on the same page. We got to pay it back. Make sure to reach out to your lender or get on the site. If you have any questions, call Saul's office, and they'll refer you to the right people to make sure you get.
Now, when they apply for forgiveness, what about is denied?
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah. So
great question.
We have seen some of those where they've been denied. So what do? There's an appeal process. An appeal process means that you can go up in front of an administrative law judge and explain, if you feel that you should have gotten it forgiven because for whatever reason. So there is a time frame. Once you get that decision, if it's denied, and it has to be denied by SBA, okay, so you'll get a letter and they'll have that denial. Then it goes on to the appeals process. And at that point, you plead your case, right? Yeah. Hey, this is what happened, and this is why I should get it.
But it's a certain period, right?
Certain period. Yeah, I believe it's 60 or 90 days from the time that you get that letter. So you should act on it.
It's pretty quick, so you got to act on it fast.
You act on it fast. And, we have seen some cases. As a matter of fact, I know one of our coworkers was sharing that there was one case that was overturned. So it could happen.
Interesting.
Yeah, it could happen, right? I mean, that's part of the appeal process. That's part of our system that we have here.
Okay.
Good deal. Yeah. Well, now moving forward, let's talk about some of your SBA programs.
Right.
Maybe some of the leadership programs you guys have going on right now that maybe people may not be familiar with.
Yes.
Do you want to talk about just your loan programs quickly, and then?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the loan programs, and now I'm diving into our traditional work that we've been doing for years, right? Since the agency has been around. SBA has many loan programs to help small businesses start, grow, expand, and recover. And our loan programs, some of them are focused for business acquisition. Some of them are focused for real estate. They're focused for, working capital, you name it.
Inventory.
The benefit. So what is the benefit? So the benefit of going behind an SBA loan program, which the majority you'll hear is 7A or 504. You'll hear that terminology, 7A, 504, is that you can go in with a lower down payment, right? You can go with a lower down payment. You could get sometimes the term of the loan is much longer, which reduces the payment.
It's up to 20 years, right?
Right. There's different terms. 25. There's different.
You can go up to 25.
Yeah, for certain real estate, for certain fixed assets. Yes. So nevertheless, when you go to your bank, it's good for them to hopefully explain to you these are your options. SBA, these are the programs. The 7A, 504. These are the benefits. Lower down payment. The longer term. Collateral might be something they could work with. The credit, it's used for folks that perhaps need that extra lift. And then you have the conventionals, right? They'll have their own programs, et cetera, et cetera. So SBA is, again, one avenue, one vehicle to get finance. It's not always the right one for you, but hopefully when you go to a bank, they'll explain to you all different options, and one of those options being SBA.
Okay. For our audience, I believe all banks has SBA specialists. It's not probably not your branch you go, but there's our office always, especially in SBA. But now when you're coming back to normal times, SBA is like a co-signer for this loan. So need to be through the bank. And then SBA approve in the back. And there's like a co-signer so you can get the loan. But
they provide the guarantee.
Yes, a guarantee.
Yeah. So the other benefit, of course, is that guarantee, which helps the lenders mitigate or reduce the risk.
The risk.
So the SBA comes behind, or the federal government, with a guarantee.
Okay.
Meaning that you get a loan for $100,000, and if the SBA guarantees 75% of it, that means 75% is guaranteed. In the event that your business goes down, that means that the bank will get a check for $75,000 to, if again, hopefully it doesn't, but if the business
offset any losses
offset the losses. So that's the guarantee.
And we always get the question, I'm a minority. it's a lot easier, right, to get a loan because you're a minority. And I always say, sorry. Nope,
If
it's
you
not.
find the place, let me know.
Yeah.
No.
So it still is the same. You have to be bankable. You still have to have good credit. You still have to have collateral. You still have to have some cash in it.
Right.
And money's kind of colorblind, and they don't. Money doesn't care.
Mike, if your last name is Gomez, three times covered.
Yeah, but no, it's about being prepared.
Yes. If I used to tell people, if you can't just walk in and buy a car off the lot, you probably can't get a bank loan, right?
Yeah.
Because if your credit's subpar, you probably can't do that. So get your credit fixed, get your credit worked on, there's some things you can do to repair situations.
Yeah, 100%. And we go back to those resource partners, right? Who can help you? I mean, there's a lot of folks, resource partners.
Go see the SBDC. Go see SCORE.
Right. All those resource partners can help prepare you so that you become bankable, right?
Exactly.
That's the idea. So if you go to a bank and you're not quite ready, it doesn't mean no, it's maybe not yet.
Okay.
And that's where you go back to the drawing board. I know Carlos and you all have played a role in that, helping folks become bankable, whether it be education, whether it be assistance.
No, actually, we had a plan for this year seminars, especially on credit. Yes, how to solve the personal credit along with the business credit in order to be bankable.
Yep.
Yeah. So again, there's a lot of benefits behind SBA loans.
What type of leadership programs does SBA have? Because you guys do a lot of training people may not be aware of through the SBA's website, and there's some different programs. What are some things folks may not be aware of with that?
Well, I think we have a very, I'll call it special program that we have here in Nevada been doing for about 5, if not 6 years. And it's called Thrive. Now it's called Thrive, but it was called Emerging Leaders. Emerging Leaders. So SBA helps businesses at all different levels, whether you're starting up, whether you're looking to scale, grow, export, etc. This program that we have is specifically tailored for a seasoned business that has been around at least 2 or 3 years, that is grossing over $250,000, and is looking to not just work in their business but on their business. Right? You always hear that a lot of the business owners, they know their expertise, right? Whether it be manufacturing something, whether it be engineering, whether it be cooking, you name it, they're the experts on that. But running a business is a whole different story, right? The accounting, the marketing, the
especially
licensing.
as you scale and stuff starts going up, you gotta
So the idea of this program is that it's 7 months and it's free. We ask for your commitment. That is huge, right? Yes, we use the word free because we understand you don't have to pay, but the commitment is tremendous. It's 7 months. They meet every other week. Right now, it's a bit of a hybrid model. And the end result, and I'll go a little bit into more detail with some questions that you may have. The end result is that you end up with a 3-year growth plan. So you're not just taking the course because, you're learning.
So nice certificate.
Right.
We love those, Carlos. Smile.
It's that 3-year growth plan that we want you to implement. And I got to say, we have some great stories of people that have been doing this, again, for 5-6 years that have just not only applied it, but the level of support that they've created, because it's only 20 folks that we include. We get about 60, 80 applications, but we're very selective to select the top 20 that are going to be committed. Well, it becomes a huge support network amongst themselves. You got people that are CPAs in the class, trying to figure out, hey, how can I market? How can I scale? You got folks that are in marketing. It's just the humbleness that they bring to it and say, I need help. Yes, I know how to do my job. I know how to do the job. I know how to do this. But I want to grow. I want to scale. I want to have more employees. I want to take this to a whole different level. For them to say that,
the cohorts are helping each other
tremendously. I mean, it's one of these.
That's
things.
A great way for mentorship too.
Yes. So let me stop there because I know you probably have some questions on that. But
when's your next cohort group fire up? Like you're taking applications all the time for this?
No, it's we take the applications at least once a year, and that time is coming around. So we'll probably start seeing some of this marketing of the program in April and in May.
That'll be on the SBA's website.
Yeah, it'll be on the SBA website.
Okay, which is sba.gov
/NV.
/NB.
Or, we'll just reach out to Carlos, and I'm sure he'll help us get that information.
Yeah.
Or you all.
Yeah, we'll put it up on our site too, so you can get it. So that's awesome. Well, give us your phone number again, just in case somebody missed it earlier.
Yes.
If you have any questions on any of this repayment stuff, if you EIDL or the PPP.
The home disaster loan, I mean, everything related to COVID.
Yeah, 702-388-6611, 702-388-6611, or via email, nvdo@sba.gov. So N as in Nancy, V as in Victor, D as in dog, O as in Oscar, @sba.gov.
Okay.
So 2 different ways to get a hold of us, and I got to say the team is on it.
Yeah, you guys have a great team. You really do. So, we appreciate that. Thank you for being on with us today. Carlos, you got any other questions?
No, I'm good.
So,
yes, my website, sendmoneytocarlos.com. Okay. I said PayPal.
PayPal, Amazon gift cards, and Saul always likes Starbucks.
My Uncle Washington, that's my
Uncle Washington.
You got to go for the Benjamins.
The Benjamins. Come on, that's good. Well, thank you for another episode of the BizLife Podcast. Always great to have you on, Saul, and thanks, Carlos, as well. And like I said, thank you so much to the Latin Chamber for their support on the podcast.
Always.
We love bringing these topics to the community, and so go do something good in your business today, right?
Yes. And pay your loans.
Pay your bills.
Gracias, Saul.
Oh, thank you, guys.